Thank you so much for singing and joining in and singing. It's just so uplifting whenever we join in and sing together, and especially songs to our God, and hallelujah, that we sing these songs and such. It puts me in the mood for preaching. I tell you, that I'm just ready to get started and ready to go, and I know that, the song leader sang as long as he wanted to sing, and so I'm going to preach as long as I want to preach. And so that's just, we have several good things happening here at Hampton, and we continue to be reminded of this, especially the Sexton family. As we have a blood drive for Micah, it's still going on. It's going to go on some this afternoon. You can till about 1:30 or so if you can go eat and come back and give blood or continue with that. We also have a fundraiser for them, helping with medical expenses. There's on Facebook we have a GoFundMe page, but also you can make a check here to the church and note it to help the Sexton family, and they need the help. And so there's so many good things with that, and along with that we have prayer for one another, and I appreciate the prayers that specific people mentioned, and we have so many on our prayer list and that we want to remember. And I have a couple more to add. Dina Moody said her grandsons, Lawson and Lincoln, 8 years old and 6-year-old, have the flu. One has type A, one has type B. They hope they don't give it to their little sister, which is 2 years old. But we know when your kids are sick with the flu, it's bad. And the flu is going around, and so Dina, we'll keep them in our prayers. And our lesson today centers upon prayer, but more about hope. It comes from, if you're on Facebook, and a lot of you are, and a lot of you have kept up with our daughter Jana, and we have a healthy 10-month-old little granddaughter. And it was Jana had 2 boys, and I'm going to tell you a story here and go into our lesson from this, because this particular, what's on the screen now, was what Jana put on her Facebook. You recognize that. Yet still I dare to hope. And I'm going to tell you her story because we haven't told yours. You've had some things, and I'm going to add a little bit more that you didn't know. Well, some of you knew, but most of you didn't know. We have a healthy 10-month-old little granddaughter, and Janet had always wanted a little girl, and her first 2 were boys. And so she said, we're going to try again, and we're going to have a little girl. And this was 2 years ago, and she had a miscarriage. And that part, maybe most of you did not know about that. She had a miscarriage, and she thought, that's my little girl. And she didn't know about that and how that was going to be, and she went through a time of distress and time of prayer, and a time when people helped her and encouraged her and helped her through that time of miscarriage. And then long after that, she was pregnant again. And with that pregnancy, and this part you do know, that she had a great struggle because she was diagnosed with Crohn's disease eventually throughout her pregnancy. But it took a period of time because she was pregnant, and once she was diagnosed, she couldn't receive any medication because you're pregnant and you can't have that. But before they diagnosed her with Crohn's disease, she got down so bad. Now she's pregnant. Something's going on. She got to where her body was hurting so much she could not walk. She could not get out of bed. Her husband would literally carry her from the bedroom to the living room, and from the living room back to the bedroom. If she went out anywhere, carried her and put her in a wheelchair, and she was able to get out, but not able to get out very much. And she went through that time. What's going on with my body? Went to 3 different doctors, and each one of them said, well, I never saw anything like this. She went to a regular doctor. He said, I don't know what's going on. Let me send you to someone else. And that doctor said, well, this is a mystery to me. Let me send you to someone else. And so, when they send you to someone else, you don't get to see them tomorrow. You have to go and get an appointment. It takes some time, and during that time she's seeing these doctors, her body is failing. She lost about 40 pounds during her pregnancy. And Jana's small anyway. She didn't know what's going on. But through that time, she was diagnosed. She did get better. she is doing better today. We have a great, healthy little granddaughter. Jana is progressing. She is, she would say, enjoying poor health because she's getting better and she's getting stronger, and you can see that she's getting stronger. You can't see day to day, but you have to look back months ago and see her progress, and she is still growing. And I can tell the story today because she put it on Facebook, and so now it's public. You know, when you have a miscarriage, you don't make that so public, but there are those who have helped her through these prayers, helped her through these years. As she put this, yet still I dare to hope. And so I'm preaching on that this morning. It's near and dear to my heart because you have been there in prayer with her, and you've been there, support for her, and you know, as a parent, when you care for my children, you care so much. I see the love, and I see the concern and the prayers and the progress through prayers. And that's what I want to focus on today, the progress through prayers. You reach a point whenever I don't know what to do. Have you ever been there? You ever been there in life and struggles and that you just don't know where to turn, you don't know what to do, you don't know what the next day is going to hold, you don't know if you can face the next day. And that was the point where Jana was. And she didn't know what she was going to do. And we'd go up there when we could, and she was just frail and fragile, and one who has always been active. She was an athlete during school and such, and could do most anything, and here she was, and her poor body just frail. And we think about those going through surgeries and recovering from surgeries, and I just thought about someone else, Margie Arrington, you know, recovering from her surgery when she fell and hadn't been able to be back, and she's at home. And y'all continue to remember her, give her a phone call, send her a card. She's isolated and longing to be back, but keep Margie Arrington in your prayers. And so, but whenever it is that you read 1 Peter, before we go to our first slide, well, that's all right. We'll get to that one in just a minute. But turn to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 6. And this is not on the slides up here. 1 Peter 1, starting in verse 6. He said, in this you greatly rejoice. Now, what is this that you greatly rejoice in? Well, it must be some wonderful thing he's going to talk about if he said, in this you greatly rejoice. And we can think a lot of great things that happened. You remember when you became a Christian. You greatly rejoiced in that. When you were redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, you greatly rejoiced in that, but that's not what he's talking about here. He said, in this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you have been grieved by various trials. Have you been grieved by various trials in your life? Yeah, that's life, isn't it? Ups and downs in life. And in times we're on the mountaintop, those are the times that we greatly rejoice, when things are going well. Oh, you and God are just like this. We're walking hand in hand, and things are going great, and we greatly rejoice in that, and we should greatly rejoice in that. But what about the times when you're down in despair, when you're down in the valley, and you feel like God has left you, and you wonder about that? Where is God? God, we were like this. And let me tell you, down in the valley, you and God are still like this. He is still with you. You can still hope, even in trials. He said in verse 7, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise and honor and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ, whom, having not seen, you love. Though now you do not see him, but believing, you rejoice with joy inexpressible and full of glory. That I rejoice in trials, in tribulations. And if you read Jana's little writing on Facebook when she put, yet still I dare to hope, What she wrote was a time of rejoicing and a time of thanksgiving for what she had been through, and she has been through it and still going through it, but she's been through the toughest time, we hope. We hope that's the toughest time. Yet still I hope. And Peter talks about our hope in good times and in bad times, yet still I hope. I don't give up hope just because things get rough. And it is that we are redeemed by the precious blood of the Lamb. The most precious thing that God ever has to offer for us. He gives it to us freely. He said that you are not redeemed by the perishable things, silver and gold, things on this earth. We can't do it by ourselves. We can't offer that redemption, but because of the precious blood of Jesus, we have hope. Let's go to our source of hope. Why do we hope? I went to a basketball game, watched the Texas high school basketball boys, and we're talking with someone talking about, I used to coach sixth grade basketball. I did for about 10 years. I did it before our girls got to be sixth graders, and I did it after our girls became sixth graders. So about 10 years I coached sixth grade basketball, boys and girls, different ones. Happened to be there were some in church, and they were looking to play basketball. They were needing some coaches, and so down in Atlanta I coached some sixth grade basketball. Enjoyed that time. But I tell you, I could not be a coach, because with sixth grade basketball, we'd have a game and I'd stay up all night wondering what I could have done. Well, not all night, but most of the night. Boy, I need to, come up with some different plays and different things. And Julie would say, why are you losing sleep over sixth grade basketball? But I did. I could not be a coach. To have that as my career, I wouldn't get any sleep. I don't know how they do it. Those who coach for a living, God bless you. But a lot of people do, and I just couldn't do it. But I had some good teams with sixth grade basketball and enjoyed those teams, and we went to tournaments and such, and we got to play and enjoyed that. But I don't take my sixth grade basketball team and go against the Dallas Mavericks and say, well, I hope we're going to win this game. There's no hope in that. I realize that whenever we play other sixth graders that we could, I hope we win this game, because there is a chance of hope, because I know my team and I know how good they are. I don't know the other team, but I know what my hope is based upon. It's based upon their practice and their skills, and they work together, and they love basketball. So I would go out and I would say, I hope we win. But not against a professional team, the Dallas Mavericks or someone that, I don't have hope beyond that. I'm not ridiculous in our hope. And so whenever it is that we say hope as a Christian, what's that hope founded on? What's our basis? What's our source of hope? Is it something that the world sees and we say our hope is in Jesus Christ? And someone from the world says, well, that's just a false hope, because, he didn't live, or if he did live, he's just a man just like we are. Why do you have your hope in him? Because I know the source of my hope. He's not a man just like, even though God became man, fully man. It's God in the flesh. And my source of hope is in Jesus Christ. Because he came from heaven to earth. And he walked this earth. And he did many great, wonderful things here on this earth. He made the blind man to see and the lame man to walk. And he raised Lazarus from the dead. But that's not what my hope is in. My hope is in that whenever he died and he was put in the tomb, that tomb is now empty. He rose again, never to die anymore, and he said, I'm coming to that where I am, there you may be also, John 14, verses 1 through 3. That my hope is that Jesus is my Savior, And He is living today. And that's a great hope. And that He has begotten us again to a living hope by the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. You see, the tomb is empty. My hope is not in a man like we are. My hope, that great hope, is that we too shall be resurrected as Jesus was resurrected. You know, the Jews went to Pilate and they said, listen, you need to put guards over that tomb because he said he's going to rise from the dead. You put guards over, you seal the tomb, you make sure this doesn't happen. And it happened anyway. You could not keep him in the grave. And he lives today. That's the source of my hope. And then you look at the nature of our hope. To an inheritance incorruptible, undefiled, that fadeth not away, reserved in heaven for you. I'm telling you that you are going to receive something which can never be taken away from you. It is the nature of our hope. That this is what I hope in. Now I hope in the person. That's the source of my hope. But the place also. To an inheritance incorruptible, undefiled. I want to go to heaven. And that's what he's talking. I want to go to heaven, and I want this reserved in heaven for me. What do we hope in? In a heaven that is incorruptible. I think of Revelation. God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. No more pain, no more sorrow, no more tears, no more death, for the former things are passed away. I want to go to heaven. It is a place my inheritance is incorruptible, undefiled, shall not pass away. That's the nature of my hope. I hope in that place called heaven. And in the certainty of our hope, who are kept by the power of God. I understand that I have my part to do. I understand that I must be an obedient child. We're going to talk about that tonight. We're not going to finish our lesson here this morning. We're going to finish it tonight. We're going to stay in 1 Peter. We're going to talk about hope. But the certainty of our hope. When I say, well, I've got a bunch of 6th grade boys and they're pretty good in basketball. We're going to go take on the Dallas Mavericks. And I hope that we win that. No, there's no certainty in that. It's not a false hope and something like that. The certainty is that we are kept by the power of God. Now, how much power does God have? Woo! Right? How much ability does God have to make this come to pass? All ability. We are kept by His power. That's what faith is. And that's what hope is. Through faith, I know we've got to have faith. I know faith is without faith it's impossible to please Him. Hebrews 11 verse 6. We've got to have faith. We're kept through that faith. But it's not that faith only. We are kept, what does it say? We are kept by the power of God. Don't leave that part out. Don't think that it's all on me, that I've got to do all this. No, God has His part. God has His place. And God has His promise. His promise is, I'm going to keep you. I'm going to help you. You're not going to walk this alone. My hope that we are kept by the power of God through faith unto salvation. We do our part and God to do His part. The certainty of our hope. So what about your hope? Hope. Without hope, where are we? Whenever we go through trials and tribulations and struggles in life, yet still I dare to hope. I will not give up. I will not give in. I will not give out. I will continue to live the Christian life. I will keep on keeping on because God is my hope and God is my strength. And in Him do I have hope. And He has it for us. So I want to encourage you that whatever comes our way, whenever it is that we say, I don't have anything else, I can't do anything on my own, I've reached the point where I don't know where to turn. And you turn to God. And when God is all you have, God is all we need. Because we learn not to rely on ourselves. You know, when we're strong and when everything is going good, we rely on ourselves a lot. That's our nature. It's hard to convert someone whenever things are going well with them, when they don't see a need for anything, when they're self-sufficient. Hard to convert them. But whenever it is, when times are tough, when they're struggling and they say, I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know where to turn. I don't know what to do. And you say, I can give you hope. Hope. Yet still I dare to hope. Do you still dare to hope? Do you still turn to God? Do you still rely upon Him even though times are tough? I still have hope. Can you say, after all the things I've been through, I still have hope. I have not given up on God, and God has not given up on me. Our invitation song is Standing on the Promises. Isn't that great? And we stand on that great promise that God is with us, all the great promises that He has made for us. He is faithful. We stand on His promises because we know His promises are steadfast and sure. Go ahead and put the invitation song up. Standing, right? Standing on the promises. Solid foundation. If your hope has been wavering, I don't know. Sometimes it is, some people would say, I've just given up hope. Stand on the promises of God. If we can help you and encourage you through your life, if there are times whenever you need hope, we're here to help you and encourage you and strengthen you. We can pray with you and we can pray for you because we all need hope. I don't know, maybe it is at this time that everything's going well and you haven't reached that time, but maybe it is you have. We're here for you. Stand on the promises of God. If we can help you and encourage you, won't you come right now while we stand and while we sing?